Namaskaram to all. Hope my audio is clear and loud. So we will start our session. Chadurmukha Samarambham Vagbhadacharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam Yagadirogan Satadanushaktan Sheshagaya Prasradana Sheshan Aunsukyamoha Aradidan Jakhana Yopurva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasmai. In our last session, we saw the certain characteristics of Samanavayu and especially the Shukrartava Sroto Vahita. And one more important aspect of Samanavayu, as it is documented by Vakbhada in Ashtanga Sangraha, is Ambuvaha Sroto Vichari. This is also very important clinically. Everything is important clinically because this is a part of our Pratnya Samskarana. So everything is important, no doubt about it. So we will see the particular point highlighted by Vagbhada in Ashtanga Sangraha. That means Samana is Ambuvaha Sroto Vichari. Ambu is Jala. Ambu is Jala, Udagam. We have seen descriptions of Ambuvaha Srotas having its Moolasthānas in Talu and Klomam. Ambuvahanam Srotasam. Then one interesting word that we find or come across in the fivefold division of Shleshma is Ambukarma, which is associated with Avalambaka Kapha. Avalambaka Kapha. Urasthaha saha trikasya swaviryataha hridayasya annaviryacha talstha eva ambukarmana kabhadhamnam cha sheshanam yatkarodi avalambanam ato valambaka shleshma. That is what we find about avalambaka kapham or avalambaka shleshma. Urasthaha saha Trikasya swaviryataha hridayasya annaviryacha talstha eva ambukarmana. Ambukarmana kabhadhamnam cha sheshanam yat karodi avalambanam ado avalambagaha. So there we find a word called ambukarma, which is the avalambaka kapha, done by avalambaka kapha, which is seated in Uras. Uras is supposed to be or is extolled as the Mula Sthana or the Pradhana Sthana, Vishesha Sthana of Shleshma. So Avalambaka Kabha is doing the Avalambana of all Shleshma Sthanas like Uras, Kandha, Shiras, Parvani, Amashaya, etc. by delivering Ambukarma. So this Ambukarma happens or materializes as and when Ambu is traveling through the Ambuvaha Srotasas. Avalambaka Kabha supports it, is sourcing the Ambu to support this. So this aspect we should have in our minds. When we read here in our present context that samana is ambuvaha srodo vichari, samana is ambuvaha srodo vichari, we assume that samana vayu has a control over the movement of ambu through the ambuvaha srotas. One point I would like to remind you again and again is that Srotas is not a conduit which is carrying water from the overhead tank to the tap. It is a pathway, a route through which the formation as well as transformation as well as maturation of a particular specific stuff is happening. So here also that idea should be there. Ambu in its raw form may be sourced from one point, then as and when it travels through the Ambu Ahasrodas, its transformation, maturation, and all these things should be happening. But there is one problem with the Ambu, because it is a very non-specific term or a highly generalized term, which is reflecting an otherwise diverse collection of stuffs or substances. And when we use the word ambu as such, we all know that it is not a dosha. Ambu as such is not a dosha, not a dhadu as such, not a mala as such. And we also connect it in certain specific manners that it has its specific contribution in the manifestation of at least two doshas. Yeah, two doshas, that means kabha and pitta. And all the dhadus and malas can have their specific, unique share of ambu within them. Then ambu karma in general may be understood as the karma that can be accomplished, any karma that can be accomplished by jala or ambu, maybe in a highly generalized, in a very loose manner, may be termed as ambu karma. There can be many interpretations for this. What is ambu karma? Which is possible. But in any interpretation, in total, ambu can represent the pool of jalabhava that is present in the sharira. A pool of jalabhava that is present in the sharira, which may exist in various forms. For obvious reasons, rasa may be the most popular jalabhava or the most fashionable form of this ambu. In the 7th chapter of the Sharira Sthanam of Charaka Samhita, we find some explanations about Udagam. Udagam is again ambu or jalam. Yattu pratyavamanam purisham anubadhnadi adiyogena tadha mutram rudhiram anyamscha shariradhadun yattu sarva shariracharam bahyattvak bibharti yattu Tvagandare Vranagadam Lasiga Shabdam Labhate Yacha Ushmana Anubaddham Lomakubebhyaha Nishpadad Sweda Shabdamavapnodi Tadudagam Dashanjali Pramanam Charagam Shariram 7th chapter 15th Karika. So we find various forms of Udagam here. Something which is attached to the Purisham, Mutram. Then another form of manifestation is Rudhiram. In all the Sharira Dhadus, it is there. It is there in the Tvak. It is there in the Vrana. In the form of Lasika, you will find it. It is there with the Svedam. So Udagam has got a diverse ways of manifestation. It is present everywhere in all dhadus, malas, and the Ambuvaha Srodas is spread all across the Sharira. And this Srodas facilitates the supply of the required type and quantity of Ambu for the various manifested forms of Jala. Like the Jala in Purisha should be specific. The Jala in the Mutra should be specific. The Jala present in the Tvak Leda should be specific, etc., etc. We can go further in this list. So it looks like a very complex system. Ambuvaha Srotas is a very complex system. So to understand what is the exact Ambu Karma, in the first look, we may feel that it is so complex. It is actually a mind-boggling concept. Forget about all these complex things. Forget about. We will look into the Ambu Karma in a very simple and straightforward manner. Go straight away to Dravadravya Vijnanam. Forget about the Shariram and all the complexities of Ambuvaha Srotas and Ambu Karma. In Dravadravya Vijnaniyam, see the properties of Jalam. See the properties of Jalam, Gangambu, as it is explained in Dravadravya Vijnaniyam. We find Jivanam Tarpanam Hridyam, Jivanam Tarpanam Hridyam Hladi Buddhi Prabodhanam. Jivanam Tarpanam Hridyam Hladi Buddhi Prabodhanam. Actually, it is explained as the properties of Jalam. But these words can be considered as exactly reflecting the Ambu Karma in Sharira. Jivanam, Tarpanam, Hridyam, Hladi, Buddhi Prabodhanam. In Prakriti and Vikriti, these lines are of utmost importance. When there is a proper balance of the Ambuvaha Srotas and its karma, Jivanam, Tarpanam, Hridyam, Hladi, Buddhi, Prabodhanam, and any distortion in this mechanism, all these faculties of Jivanam, Tarpanam, Hridyam, Hladi, and Buddhi, Prabodhanam can be seen getting distorted. So it is all about maintaining the Shleshma Sanchayam of the Shariram. Jala and Prithvi of Shariram. You may find that Kabham, the word Kabham has a nirukti. Kena, Ka Shabdam, Kam stands for Jalam. Kena, Jalena Bhaladi iti. That is how the word Kabham is originated. And it is Jala Prithvi Bhavas, more specifically Jala, and definitely it involves a continuous monitoring of Agni. This is very crucial. the balance of jala in the sharira requires or involves a continuous monitoring by Agni. That is actually a mechanism where Agni is always monitored by Jala. Jala is always monitored by Agni. Surya Soma or Agni Soma. So this is actually a core concept of Agni Shomiyam. So that is there. And this Agni Shomiyam operates in the presence of Vayu. Here specifically Samana. That is what is proposed by the word when we see the word Ambu Ahasrodo Vichari. So how the Ambu karma is run, operated and controlled by Agni is well under the supervision of Samana Vayu. That is why it is forced to, it is privileged to become Ambu Ahasrodo Vichari. So I'm not making simple ideas complex, but I am trying to throw light to certain finer aspects of these concepts because these are important ideas while we address clinical conditions. Many clinical conditions, especially certain specific ones like Trishna. Then further in Samana Vayu, we find certain things which we have. In Trishna, that Jivanam, Tarpanam, Hridyam, Hadi, Buddhi, Prabodhanam is getting distorted. In the Trishna, this is distorted. In the Dharana of Trishna, Vegam, you will find almost same things happening. This Jivanam, Tarpanam, Hridyam, Hadi, Buddhi, Prabodhanam is distorted. So it is coming from simple Hridyam or Hladi, Ahladam. It goes to the level of Buddhi Prabodhanam, which is getting distorted. There will be some sort of a Chitta Vibhramsha type of things happening. Then there is a distortion in the function of Amboha Srotas, Trishna. So while dealing with the clinical conditions, it is not just like having a feeling of thirst. It is much, much more than that. Now, coming to the karma vishesha of Samana, we find tad avalambana, annadharana, pachana, vivejana, kitta adhonayanadi kriyaha. Tad avalambanam, annadharana, pachana, vivejana, kitta adhonayanadi kriyaha. So I hope or I expect that what I explained in the that Ambuvaha Srodo Vichari is clear. Then only I think I will move further to the karma visheshas of Samana. That Samana karma visheshas we find tad avalambana, annadharana, pachana, vivejana, kitta adhonayanadi kriya. Tad avalambanam here means the avalambana of Agni. Tadavalambana is the avalambana or supporting the Agni, highlighting the support provided by the Samana for the proper functioning of Agni. See, in Grahani Chikitsa, that is also very important. That is the Samana supports the Agni, Tadavalambanam. In Grahani Chikitsa, Ashtanga Hrudayam, you will find certain specific conditions. I will read that, please listen. योल्पाग्नित्वाद् कभे क्षीणे वर्चः पक्वमपि श्लथं मुञ्जेद् पट्वौषधयुदं स पिबेद् अल्पशो घृतम् तेन स्वमार्गमानीतः Swakarmani niyojitaha samanaha deepayatyagnim. Very specific condition. We should not be very loose in understanding the clinical situations. We should try to make it as sharp as possible. Here we find yaha alpagnitvad kabhe kshine. So kshina kabhada alpagnita. In that condition, varchaha pakvamabi shladham munjed. Varchaha pakvamabi, pakva varchas, but asamhatam, shladha. And the treatment advice, so there is sidhila varchas, shladha varchas, asambhada varchas. Agni is kshinam. Kabham is also kshinam. Then in that condition, alpashaha kridam pibed. Alpashaha kridam pibed. How? Padu aushadhayudam. Padu aushadhayudam. Then what is the advantage or what is the outcome expected? Tena, by this intervention, swamargamanitaha swakarmani niyojitaha samanaha. By this intervention of pattvaushadhayuta kritapanam alpashaha swamargamanitaha samanaha. Samana which comes to its margam. That means Agni samipasthitaha swakarmani niyojitaha samanaha. What is his karmam? Agni deepanam. So with this intervention, there one particular mechanism is operating which keeps the samana away from the agnisthana. That is the reason for the agni mandhyam. And kabham is kshinam. With this sneha prayoga, samana comes back to the agni samipasthanam and start doing the agni deepana karmam. Swamargamanitaha swakarmani niyojitaha samanaha deepayati agnim. That is how agni supports, samana supports the agni. Samanaha deepayati agnim. Next statement is a highly generalized but most important one. Agnehe sandhukshako hi saha. Saha samanaha agnehe sandhukshakaha. It is well known that samana is Agni Sandhukshakaha. Agni Sandhukshakaha, the promoter of Agni. Samana is the promoter of Agni. It is a well-known fact that Samana is the promoter of Agni. So it is very, very crucial. In many contexts, it is not limited to Grahani. The rest of the things what we find that Kittadho, Nayanam, Dharanam, Paj, all these things we have explained in detail in different contexts already. So I think with that, we will conclude the Samana Vayu functions. And there are many other things which can be connected to this in a clinical perspective, which I expect or which I hope to discuss as and when the situations come. With that, I think we can move further to Apana Vayu. Apana, the last one. Is it okay to move to Apana? I hope the explanations are comfortable to everyone. Now, regarding Apana Vayu, Apa aniti anayati iti apanaha. Apa aniti anayati iti apanaha. So we find an upasarga apa. Apa aniti anayati iti apanaha. This upasarga apa has got many meanings. Many meanings like Bhramshaha, Asakalyam, Vairupyam, Tyagaha, Viyogaha, Viparyayaha, Vikritihi, etc. etc. If you look at our text like that Shabda Kalpadrumam, we will get more. But in spite of all these diverse possibilities, what we accept here in our context is apa having a downward sense, which reflects a downward trend. Apa. So apa aniti anayati means something which moves downward and makes others move downward is called apana. That principle which moves downward and make others also move downward is known as apana. Apa aniti anayati iti apana. If we look into the detailed explanation about apana in Ashtanga Sangraha, we find apanaha tu apanasthitaha. Apanaha tu apanasthitaha. Vasti shroni medra vrishana vankshana uru charaha. Vasti shroni medra vrishana vankshana uru charaha. Then Vinmutra Shukrartava Garbha Nishkramanadi Kriyaha iti. I am reading the passage once again. Apanaha tu apanasthitaha vastishroni medra vrishana vankshana uru charaha Vinmutra Shukrartava Garbha Nishkramanadi Kriyaha iti. All words are familiar. Apanaha is apanasthitaha. Apanasthitaha. Apana. In the text, concerned text, we will find that apanaha is a pullinga shabdam, whereas apanam is a napumsakalingam. The pullingam apanaha means apanavayu. Apanam, the napumsaka shabdam means gudavartma or gudamarga. So apanaha, apanasthitaha means apanavayu is seated in gudamargam. Apanavayu is seated in apana gudamarga. And this seat, when understood in relation to Koshta, this may be explained as Pakvasya. In relation to Koshta, this is explained, or this can be explained as Pakvasya. Because it is not the Guda alone. Guda Marga is not the Guda alone in the exact meaning of the word. In Marmam, we will find Stulandra Buddha Sadyoghanaha Vidwada Vamano Gudaha. So it is not just that part, but Guda Marga is Pakvashaya till the end point. That is Guda. The end point is Guda. So the Guda Marga is the Pakvashaya till the end point. So apanasthitaha. Then we find the deshas where it has the privilege or right to travel and perform its duties. Which are they? Vasti, Shroni, Medra, Vrishana, Vankshana, Uru Charaha. A list of Deha Deshas or Avayavas. Vasti means the Vasti Pradesham, not exactly the Mutravasti or the urinary bladder alone. Vasti Pradesh. Of course, it accommodates bladder and all the associated organs or structures with it. Shroni. Shroni is again a Deha Desha, the pelvic area. Medram is an organ, the male organ, penis. Vrishanam, the scrotum and the testicles and the associated structures. Vankshanam, Vankshanam is the groin region. Uru, the thighs. So if we look into this, we can understand that these are all areas specifically coming below the Nabhi. Te vyabinobi hrinnabhyo radho madhyo urdhva samshraya, regarding the primary positions of doshas. So here we find all the positions coming below the level of Nabhi. Now, regarding the karma of apana vayu, we find Vinmutra Shukrartava Garbha Nishkramanadi Kriyaha. First thing we find here is Adi Kriyaha. That means this is not a complete list but only a representative one. And the representative list given here mainly shows the excretory functions or the expelling Nishkramanam functions of the apana vayu. Expelling of vid, expelling of mutra, shukra, artava, garbha. All words are familiar. Vid is shakrit, mutram, subodham. Shukra and artava here are the seminal and menstrual fluids respectively. Shukra and artava. Previously we saw that shukra and artava are the male and female bija. Purusha bija and Stri bija. Here it is the seminal and menstrual fluids respectively. Garbha is the fetus, the products, the entire products of conception. So everything is clear. But apart from these explanations, we should understand many things about apana. What we saw is only the tip of an iceberg. The real apana is below the water level. What we find is only the tip of the iceberg which has come above the water level. So we have to learn apana in detail, which we will do in our next session. So today, sorry, today we saw something about the Samana Vayu. We concluded it and we started with apana. The textual portions of apana is very straightforward, simple and self-explanatory. But there are many aspects which we should understand about apana, which is so crucial, that we will find in our next session. So with that, we can conclude today. As I was mentioning in the group, the previous sessions I am uploading in the Mixcloud. That is a podcast platform. So you can track back. I think some 13-14 sessions are already excluded. Those who have entered late, they can connect it from Mixcloud. So I'll be sharing that Mixcloud link once again today in the group, WhatsApp group. And please feel free to listen to them so that we can have some continuity. Okay, so thank you very much. Prishajam sadhu bhuttanam bhadram agamacharinam abhyasta karmanam bhadram bhadram bhadrabhilashinam. Namaskar.